Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 232 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Alex and Tyler from Streetwearhouse in Missouri. Let's go!
Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for coming back. It's another week with me, which hopefully is cool. You guys have been sending me lots of thank yous and praise, so I appreciate that. All is well with Andy. He will be back at some point, and we'll keep chugging forward. So let's get into this. Frank. It all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. They are obviously the screen lords, but don't pass them up for custom racking and other wide range of other print supplies. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, ffffrank.com, or greatfuckingscreens.com. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay. It's the easiest way. I don't know if you guys get their newsletter, but you should sign up if you don't. I've been getting them, and they're actually like super good and informative. I'm not saying that as like this weird like pitch for them. I just think they're actually really good. Socials have been really good for them too. I think they got a team that's pretty well dialed at this point. GraphX is the source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. They can help any size shop from starting out to enterprise level. Looking to add a hero to your art department but don't want to hire a rando? Check out graphicsource.com. Nick, Lucas, that whole team, those guys have been doing fucking awesome. I mean, I see them, hear that about them so much. So if you don't already, check out Graphic Source. They have an a la carte option too. If you just need help with something, you don't want to do like the monthly, you should check it out. Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on IG at The Emulsion Guru and get the answers you need fast. Kevin knows everything there is to know about the darkroom. So if you have any questions, hit him up. I know it's a complicated area, sciencey area of the shop, but they're definitely the guys to help you out. S&S has been our go-to apparel source since day one. Discover an extensive range of apparel that blends innovative design and unbeatable comfort. Their custom services and quality control are the best out there. Check them out at ssactivewear.com. The weathered hues of comfort colors are inspired by nature, so it makes sense that their dye process would be made with respect for it too. The Pigment Pure process produces eco-friendly colors by using 1/3 less water and taking 40% less process time, consuming less energy and requiring 0 salt. Plus, it's the best fucking shirt out there, like hands down, especially for big dudes like me. ScreenPrintGPT.com. Not only is it an extremely smart machine and helps us troubleshoot all things print, but the site has a ton of really cool tools that are free to use as well. Pricing calculator, embroidery stitch calculator, packing slip maker, and an ink consumption calculator. It's all free. It's, you know, there's a lot of sponsors of the industry that just want this tool to exist because it's helpful and we want everybody to succeed. That's what this is. It's free. Go check it out. It's a great thing. Also, there's a link in the description of this video. There's a link on our Instagram. If you want to join our community of positive thinking, screen print, embroider, digital, join our Discord. It's just any questions you have. It's all positive. Negative shit gets kicked out. Go check it out if you haven't already. Also, been getting a lot of good feedback, a lot of likes, a lot of comments on YouTube. I appreciate it, guys. Keep it up. Thank you very much. If you can share where you are, what you're doing when you're listening to this episode on Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, that would rule. It really helps me see that you guys like the show and want to be a part of it. So I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for the love. Keep it up. Today, guys, we are talking with Alex Trinkle from Streetwearhouse. What's up, dudes?
Hey, nothing much, man. Just middle of the day, you know?
Middle of the fucking workday. I get it.
Yeah. Was I chatting with you on Instagram about last Halloween?
Yeah.
What came up?
Dude, last week was not Thanksgiving. It was Halloween.
Yeah.
And there was just like, we had a party here, we had things going on, and I kind of got, owner brain where I was like, oh, I can handle this, I can do all these things. And it was one thing where I was like, if any way these guys can just like do next week, I will make my day so much easier.
Yo,
It was funny because we actually earlier we were going through the lot too. And I was like, Alex, maybe we just reschedule. He's like, no, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. I was like, no, we're kind of going through it. So then he's like, oh,
yeah,
he wants to reschedule. We're like, let's go. That's perfect.
All right. Hell yeah. That's sweet. No, I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I've just been trying to schedule these and again, you say middle of the day, we've been doing the show for like fucking like 4 years now. But like back when we started, we were doing them on Sundays because it was nice for me because I could be at home or we just would chill and like do it on an off day. And then we started getting a lot of people that were like, hey, I want to do this on a Wednesday or something because I can do it at work and it doesn't affect my real life. So we've just been kind of keeping up with Wednesdays. So yeah, I get it. Middle of the day, we all got shit to do, but I won't keep you too long. We'll talk for like an hour and a half. I promise.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Where's the other host? Where's Andy? Because I know I watched the last couple ones. Is he just out or something?
Yeah, he's got some life stuff going on. So I'm manning it. I'm in it. I'm doing it, chugging through. I can't. The funny thing is, it's like all of these episodes, I've only missed one, and it killed me to miss one. Like I was in Mexico, there was no way I was going to be able to do it, so I had to miss one episode.
It's
But
that's just how it goes, though. It's like back in the day, you miss one day of school, and of course, it's the best day. Everybody's like,
Right.
"Oh, you so much." Any other day, no problem. But it's
dude,
the
that
day.
one kid punched the teacher in the face, and you missed it.
You're like, "What? I wasn't even gone the whole day. I left earlier."
Yeah, I can't miss him. So what's going on, guys? You guys kind of I've been following you. I gotta admit, I've been following you mostly social media stuff and just seeing the explosion that you guys have had on there. But I know, Alex, you have kind of had like a previous life and previous story with all of this. So
Yeah.
I kind of want like a not super crazy long, but like a good wrap up so that we can get into what it is that you guys do the best. So
Yeah, so just to give like a brief history of me, I've already owned a print shop prior, so a lot of people that see us on Instagram think it's like a new, fresh shop that we started together like what was it, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, January 2023.
Yeah,
Dang,
so
that is fresh.
but I've had my own shop. I've done all of it myself. I had an auto. I had the whole warehouse going for me and stuff like that. I had a previous clothing brand, so my warehouse was split up 50-50. I was doing fulfillment for my own brand, and then I was doing the print shop. But I was the only owner. I only had like 1 or 2 employees, and it literally I was doing that for like I would say 4 or 5 years. And I just started off in my mom's basement, got a little studio space in the West Bottoms of Kansas City. So it's like one of those things like Cage Head Apparel. He's printing like you have to take up the shirts through the elevator to the top loft. Did all that before.
Shout out to Cagehead, by the way.
Yeah. I've been
Good dude.
following him. Is it the same dude from Rush Order T videos?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was saying. I was like, these guys, either they're twin brothers or something.
Yeah, same dude.
But yeah, it seems like he had some massive growth. I mean, like
Mhm.
we've looked at the content strategy of Rush Order Tees before, and they blew up from all the mixing and stuff. Still hype. But anyways, I did all this before, so this is like my second at bat. I've been screen printing ever since I was 19 years old. So I'm 27 now, so I have 8 years of experience underneath my belt.
Right.
And this was just the build up to what Streetwearhouse was. I had to go through all the trials and struggles of running my own shop. And I mean, dude, it went downhill, bro. I mean, towards the very end of it, I remember like I just threw in the bag. I think I was doing like a 3,000 piece order, and it got messed up. And I was like, bro, I'm just done. Mentally, I was just capped from the clothing brand. I was capped from this order. This was pushing the limits. I was like, dude, this is unsustainable. So I closed down the warehouse. And then eventually I met him, during that time of season?
Yeah, that was so I guess my background, we could kind of like merge the stories a little bit, but my background, I don't really know anything about like the industry, to be completely honest. So I'm learning a lot through Streetwearhouse.
He was a newbie.
Yeah, everything. No, I went through the corporate world, right? So I had an office job and everything. I got the degree, all that fun stuff that they tell you you're supposed to do. And yeah, it's, you know, a backup plan. Sure. If this all fails, you know, I got backup options. But at the end of the day, it sucked, right? Like sitting at an office doing the same thing every day, every week.
Yeah. Super
It's
mundane.
just mentally taxing. Like you go home and then you're just like drained. You don't want to do anything. But like physically, you've been sitting all day. So it's just like a mental drain and it sucks. But I couldn't do that anymore. So I got out of it. But during that time, I was like learning, I was starting to watch these videos and seeing vinyl shirts, embroidery, you know, screen printing. I'm like, I could do this. And so my route actually,
says.
yeah. And my route actually
Then they get dose of reality hard.
Bro, it's honestly like the cutoff for it is like very high. You know what I'm saying? Like getting past your basement level, that's tremendous in my opinion.
For sure, yeah.
But my route was actually through embroidery because I remember one night I saw an embroidery video and it's really satisfying to watch. But also too, I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. I bought one of those tabletop ones that you can do, you know, one colors. And then I was like, I got to do more. So then I got like a commercial machine, and then I had one in the basement and then two in the basement. And at that point, I started my first business. I'm like, oh, this is doable. Like my first order paid for like my first payment on the machine. And I'm like, I still have a whole month to make money now. And so it all just made sense. And so I was doing that.
Let's start up an Etsy. No, I'm just
I mean, I looked down all the routes, you know, the Shopify, let me make craft things. Let me go down.
Let's start making tumblers with funny sayings on them.
Do everything. I ended up with the DTG machine in my basement. And
that's why
it got dark there. Yeah. And so to kind of like bring these stories together.
If you never bought that machine, I probably would never.
Yeah. So I hit him up through his previous brand for the embroidery. And he, you know, because I saw he made some hats and I was like, oh, I do embroidery. Like, I'd love to make some stuff for you, whatever. And he's like, cool. But he already had a guy, obviously. So probably didn't think much of it. And then I got a DTG machine completely unrelated. I just fell for the ISS, you know, hype. I went there for my first one. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. This is the new technology. I do embroidery, but I don't print. But this is like the middle ground, right? I could still sell shirts. Cool. I wasted so much money on it. There's a market for it, but I spent so much money on it, and I lost a lot of money when I sold it and everything. But
real quick, why do you think that you lost money on it? Do you think you just didn't have the market for it, or you just think that it wasn't?
There absolutely is a market there. I have a friend in Ohio, and he has 3-4 DTG machines. I think the thing that I had issues with was pricing it and marketing it, because it's tough because it is like not cheap, right? For DTG, you got to price at least 15-20 a shirt. There's somewhat of a learning curve, but I just kind of went all in. I had the Hottronics, I had the F2100, I had the nicest, I think it's EcoFree pre-treater, and I went all in and to make $10 on a shirt, you know, like
right.
So you really got to do volume there, and there's a market there, but I didn't.
You went into it more because like, hey, this is a way for me to make t-shirts, not necessarily like I have the market for this. You're just like, I can make t-shirts in my basement and I don't have to like pull a screen, mix inks, all those things.
Right.
Did you say you jumped the gun on it?
I think I strategically jumped the gun on it, where in my head it made sense and on paper it kind of made sense, but because to me it's a bridge to. I do embroidery. Embroidery a lot of times is an add-on, right? It's not like some people just get polos or just get hats or something, but a lot of times they're doing shirts and hats or shirts and polos. And so to me, it was a bridge of like, oh, now I can offer shirts,
full color shirts,
full color prints.
So that's what.
But it didn't work out. But the blessing from that, you know, is I once I got that, I re-hit up Alex. Was like, hey, if you need samples for your, you know, stuff, instead of doing a production run or something, I'll print the samples. You can do photo shoots and all that stuff, and then run the production.
And at that time, I was doing like limited drops. I was getting samples made. I post them up on Instagram, get the pre-orders during the weekend, and then close it out. So he was like the solution for that at the time.
Right.
All the clothing brands on Instagram, that's how they were running it. And then they, you know, do 2 to 4 week shipping. Then we'd send it off to a real screen printer. But I own the print shop too, so I was like, we'll just run it through ourselves. And
Right.
It's just a circle. I guess a monopoly within myself, I guess.
Yeah, but that's essentially how our paths combined. We went to high school together, but we didn't really know each other at the time.
Oh, really?
Maybe back then how we knew each other. But then, you know, we obviously go different ways, and then, you know, paths come back together, which is perfect. But from then we started Streetwearhouse, and like you mentioned briefly, like we were doing it out of his loft down here in Kansas City, where we have to take the
started this
elevator
in my apartment. If you scroll down on the page, like literally printing out of my apartment.
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Kitchen in the
But,
background and everything.
Yeah.
I want to step back real quick though. Alex, how do you think that you got successful with the streetwear thing? Like, how did you just like pop into that to make it to where you were like, I want to buy an auto, I want to do all this? Because that's hard. Like, having a brand to get to at least that point is a difficult task, and to be like, all right, fuck it.
I think I don't know, maybe I was a control freak with the quality and like testing out new things. And I feel like with the streetwear space, you have to be current and know your customer base. And I think that's why Streetwearhouse has grown so much, is because I know what these guys want, you know?
Right, right.
The limiting capabilities, like every print shop, you know, get up to 16 by 18 print. But our niche is like, dude, gone are those days. Like, I hope you're hitting 20 inches minimum nowadays, you know? So I think with all my experience of knowing what I wanted from a print shop, for my own brand, I know what these other kids are wanting too.
Are you finding that that's a catch-22 though, because you were so picky and you knew what you wanted, that now you're seeing, because I don't want to say this in a negative way, but like a lot of streetwear to people who don't do streetwear is a little bit of like a difficult task, because they always want like these weird locations or weird styles or whatever. And you're like, it seems like you guys are like, bring it on. Like, I'm willing to do these like odd things.
Sorta. I think we're,
Can I speak on this? Because
yeah.
so going back, like Alex was saying, like I'm a newbie to all this, right? Like I come from the embroidery of like corporate stuff, whatever, and then I have like my 4 years of experience or so, and he has his background in screen printing and streetwear.
Yeah.
When we got together, there's one thing that we came across that
are you talking about the same?
Yeah, so like there's one thing we came across where like every partnership or relationship, two people, there's always going to be a
dreamer. I'm the dreamer. I tackle on everything, so I want to take on the jobs.
Right.
And then are somebody who's like realistic.
The realist. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Maybe let's not take on this crazy AOP thing. And I think that's why.
Because we recently we bought some like vintage AOP boards, because that was like what's coming in is what's already been done. And those vintage AOP designs, like Hellstar is a brand that we look up to, or we look for like inspiration, because they like revolutionized streetwear by going even like 24-inch screen prints and stuff like that. Now, who's going to take it to that next step and make it like such a easy thing to do, which would be like AOP next. Once that comes back in, but you knowing as like a screen printer, the setup, the time, the skill set that is involved in that,
right,
bro, it takes so much. And as we're doing simple one color stuffs on AOP, we're learning like, yo, this is not it. Like, I don't even know how people produce this stuff at scale.
To go back to your question, is like, Alex is the one who's like, let's test, let's try this stuff, and takes on everything. And I'm sitting there like, do we want to do this? Because in my head, I want to kind of plan out. I do a lot of like the logistics behind the curtain stuff, where I'm like, if we do this, I want to be to a point where we can offer it. I don't want to just do it.
Have a process for it. Have a process.
I want to build out a process. So it's like, when we first started, we were doing screen printing and embroidery. And I think it was one of those things where we were kind of spread a little bit thin of like balancing stuff. And we looked at the numbers, and I mean, the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
Where it literally was 80-20 with embroidery. It's like, why are we putting so much into embroidery where most of our business is screen print? So we axe embroidery completely. We don't offer it. We don't contract it out, nothing.
We had an 8-head Meriden?
Yeah. To double down on screen printing, getting a wax machine for the screens and everything like that. But then that allowed us to be like, all right, since we're doing screen printing, let's focus on screen printing and how can we best offer the best thing at the best price with the best turn. And let's just like, what they say, money's made in the niches, right?
Right.
And so like, instead of doing like, hey, we do DTG, we do DTF, we do transfers,
like
embroidery,
50% good at all those things.
Right. We'd rather be like, let's dial in. And so we try AOP. If we're not there yet, we don't offer it. And
but we pretty much there was a pivoting moment with our screen printing. Is like, we took that embroidery money that we were invested into that machine. And I met this dude out at, I think it was ISS. He owns Lancaster Print Shop. I forgot his name.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, Josh. And he was like, dude, you got to get one of these. And this was when we were like 6 months into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is the goal. So we pretty much took that money, bought the CTS, and we never looked back. I mean, like that. Because I think I was listening to a Shirt Show episode the other day. It's just like, he was like, I don't think I'm there yet. Like, I don't make that many screens. We don't either, but it's still faster.
No, it's one of those things where I would say it should be the first purchase, even before an auto necessarily, is an autocoder and a CTS. Because it's going to get rid of so much human error. It's going to get rid of a lot of issues that you have once you get to press. Like, it's so hard to to slam into people's brains because they like the visuals of actually screen printing. But like, if you don't have your darkroom dialed and your screens and all of that, like the rest is bullshit. Like you're gonna be like fighting things on press because you don't have your screens dialed. So if you can get that stuff done first, like I bet that made the world of difference for you guys. Like,
oh my gosh, like we have a film printer right over here, the SNT 3270, and I'm like, bro, printing off one film, you can make like 5 screens on that CTS.
right.
And now, like, let's say you have a multicolor, dude, you're waiting like 20 minutes for it.
And you're having way better registration, I bet. You're
Oh
not
my
having,
God. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's 100% perfect, but sometimes it is.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, you'll get to the point where you can just not put registration marks on at all, and then you're just micro tweaking here and there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the decision was more of like, because a lot of times I think people look at it as like, oh, you have to do X amount of screens or else you're wasting money or it doesn't make sense.
Don't listen to those people.
Don't listen to them.
Absolutely not.
No.
If you have the funds, it's just like invest in stuff that's going to make you more efficient.
Exactly.
And then you'll have just more time doing other stuff, or you can just be more effective when you print. Like it's just quicker, easier. I don't know.
We went through a season of debating iImage versus this, and we eventually settled for the higher. Like I think the iImage was like 20,000. I think it was the S. So you can only make like 80 screens total for the day. And then we looked at the production of this, and I'm like, I'm so glad we full sended the Dowit CTS.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. Again, it sucks to say when you have the funds or whatever, but you really shouldn't be buying stuff like that and being like, what's the cheapest one I can get?
No,
because I feel like with a CTS, it's 100% you get what you pay for. Like for sure.
I see the problems with like iImage, like print heads and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it's replaceable, but I don't know. We're just looking for consistency. Like we've made the mistakes throughout our first year and a half with this business, like buy cheap, buy twice.
Right.
Like the compressor.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. So I'm just like, we're just done playing that game. And if we're gonna make that jump, we're just gonna get the legit stuff.
And it's hard though, because we all have the background of like DIY, right? Like it's like,
definitely. Yeah.
Make it work. And it's easier, cheaper. Like, let me buy the used thing and we'll make it work. And sometimes for like, presses and stuff instead of 100K, like, if you get a good used press, sure. But like, otherwise,
but even then it's a needle in a haystack. Like, it's so hard to find. And I feel like even if you buy a used press, the best way to get one is not that you want someone to go out of business, but is like someone going out of business. Like they bought a press like 5 years ago, and the only reason why they're selling it is because they have to. Not because they're like, oh, I'm going to buy a new press and I'm getting rid of this one and whatever. Because it's like, you never know how hard they ran that press, like what the maintenance was, like all these other things. And I've done that for years. Like I've been doing this for 17 years now or whatever. And it's like, we've bought presses to be like, oh, we could buy this auto because it's, I'm getting a sweet deal on Craigslist or whatever. And it's a death machine. And registration's terrible. Like even with manuals, it was like, we went through probably like 12 manuals before we were just like, fuck it. Bought like an M&R Sidewinder, like brand new. And it was like, why didn't we buy this in the beginning? We would have saved so much time and headache if we would have just got the right thing, the right tool for the job in the beginning.
Yeah. I will say I am a digit smith master. Are you?
No, I told you. I swore away like 8 years ago buying used. Like I will not buy used.
I'm a nerd about the equipment. I used to not be as invested, but dude, like I've done so much research on the equipment that we bought for our shop.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm on the Facebook forums, the Blue Machines. I've seen your name in there as well. But our press that we have out there right now is like the Sportsman EXG 12 color. And at the time,
great press.
Yeah, no, super dope press. But I was just in the comment section of like, hey, looking for a press. And somebody's like, I have a 12 color listing here soon. I just DM'd that guy. He's like, yeah, I got the Sportsman EXG. And I couldn't believe this deal, bro. He said, I only want 35,000. It only has 500,000 impressions, mint condition. I said, no way. Like, Tyler, I called you that night. I was like, Tyler, this is it. Right. This is it. I don't care what we need to do, but like, go get this like right now. Transfer the money.
All right. Well, let me take a step back and take my foot out of my mouth for a second. I
Yeah.
think that there's people like you in that conversation, and people like my buddy Matt at Relentless is that guy where he's
Oh.
just scours used constantly,
I
and
hit
he
him
like
up.
refurbishes stuff and everything. Those are people who are looking for the right things and looking for the deals and know what they're doing. But there's people like say me where I don't say look at used stuff, whatever, and I'm like, you know what, I really need a press. And then I just like go on Craigslist or I go on Facebook Marketplace and I'm like, oh, I found a press 4 states over. I guess I'll just drive and buy it. And then
Yeah.
they're not doing the homework. They're not looking for months. They're just like, oh, I found something, buy it. And then you find out it's a turd.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on your specialty, like your experience. Because if you know how to do this stuff, or we have a really good technician, that like
Yeah.
you can make sure it's good. But if you don't know, you're shooting in the dark. I think that's what happens with like a lot of people that get embroidery. I see it a lot. Is like they don't know, they don't understand. They just want to make stuff, which is cool,
Right,
but
right.
they don't understand the learning curve. And I see so many embroidery machines going up for sale, brand new, or like few stitches because they buy it. They have no idea what they're doing. They're like, this isn't what I expected, and sell it. So
Exactly.
if you buy something you don't know, yeah, you might get the short end of the stick. You might get lucky. Who knows? But that case, it's better off to buy new because then you have like, you know the machine's gonna work. You know, you don't have to worry about like, oh, if it breaks, what do I do? Or what am I looking for? Why is it leaking? Where's the air even coming from or something, you know? So
So buying that big EXG kind of was perfect for the streetwear stuff because now you can do big ass prints on it.
Like we still had the 16 by 20 inch boards or whatever the standard is M&R. And then we had this one client walk in and he was like a YouTube influencer guy. He's like, bro, he's like, this is too small. He's like, I need you at least this big, bro, or else I'm not working with you, which forced us to get these like 19 by 26 boards. That way we can print up to 17 by 20. The machine prints up to 20 by 20. But if that customer didn't say that and wanted that, we would have probably delayed the process or not bought the board. But that just opened the floodgates to everybody wanting that size from us, since that's like our basic almost now for streetwear brands.
Right, right. So I wanted to dive more into the streetwear thing just because it is for all the printers listening to this, it is like I guess, I don't want to say touchy subject or sore subject or whatever, because a lot of people do it, but I feel like the people that do it, that's their thing. Like you guys, that's your thing for sure. Like if I had a streetwear guy come to me, I might even be like, hey, I'm going to send this to you guys. Like, that's fine. Sure. So what have you found by doing it that like you love it, hate it? It is what it is. It's your guys' thing. And you're just like, fuck yeah, let's do everything there is about it. Or how do you feel about it?
I think it can be exhausting. And so for some background, like I think a lot of shops are this way too. We're built on contract, right? So like we started doing contract. In the beginning, we were like 99% contract until we slowly start building up that customer base. That
people don't know that.
Yeah, that portfolio where it's like people trust us to print, and then it opened up opportunities, like you said, for the oversized, and then we really are starting to get more into streetwear. And I think that was always the end goal. So right now, we still do maybe like 40% contract, 30, but our goal is to build the retail side, which is like the streetwear stuff.
Right.
But doing it is kind of taxing because, you have people wanting some crazy stuff or they just see something on, Temu and they're like, hey, I want to do this with my brand. And
Alibaba.
they just drop their logo on the shirt, make it as big as possible. And like, let's do this. And, I know it's possible. I've seen pictures of it and it's tough because
whole color front, back, sleeve, hood. What the?
You got to set these expectations with these customers and being like, you can do this. It's unrealistic. They want 12 colors on a sleeve. They want all these. Well, let's do it. It's going to be $100 a shirt. But no, I want it for $12 a shirt. So you have to like set these expectations with the customers, let them know what our limitation is and work with them. Because we'll have people come in with some crazy stuff. We'll be like, this is sick, but let's do it more realistic so you can also sell it and make money. And we'll have to like dial them in and stuff like that. And we can't do everything, right? Like there's people that come in and, we tell them what we can't do. And they're like, we're looking for this, and they move on. But oftentimes we do get people coming back because like you mentioned, a lot of shops don't do stuff like this. And if you want some crazy, crazy stuff, a lot of times it's cut and sew overseas or in California or something. So
but what I've kind of recognized is like the market shift in streetwear. If you were to ask us 10 years ago, what do you buy a shirt at? It'd be like 30 bucks for a shirt.
Right.
Nowadays, these kids are willing to pay 40, 50, $60 a shirt, but it has to come correct. And I was watching I think it was a print podcast at ISS of Dub Charney, and he was on point with this in 2022 or 2021.
Yeah.
He said this. I was like, bro, he understands the market gap and what these kids want. Because what he realized with the 1801 GD, not to highlight him during this podcast so much, but is that like the kids want something that's not standardized. They want that old boxy fit of vintage. Like that's what the kids are going for. And he recognized that. I was like, bro, that's a game changer. So
yeah, he was, he kind of revolutionized a lot of things with that. I don't want to like say that streetwear is a negative. Like I didn't want it to come off like that. I'm just saying that to a manufacturing screen printer or someone who just tries to do it, get it straight, get everything right, they do their day, whatever. Streetwear is more, I want to say, like an art form where someone comes to you and they're like, hey, like I saw you post one the other day where you were like, hey, I want to do this print, but it's going to curve around the pocket on a hoodie.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, we got to turn the pressure up here. We got to do this. We got to do that. It's like, okay, that's cool, but like that's not something you're doing every day. That's something that a customer came to you and was like, "Can you do this? Can you make this happen?" And then you guys have to figure it out. It's almost like you have screen printing and then you have screen printing lab where you're like, let's figure this out, and then if we can master this, we can put this in our arsenal where we have it as an offering. So I feel like you guys are constantly doing the lab part and then just adding to your offerings, and then eventually you're the fucking streetwear place where it's like, hey, these guys do puff over the zipper, over the pocket, the hood, all these different things.
I think the success of Streetwearhouse is like, pooling up that knowledge of a bunch of fails that we've done. Mm-hmm. That way we can learn from it and create what we actually can. I mean, like without testing it, it's like we don't know. You are capable of doing it, but it's just like you just got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's simple as that. So.
Yeah. What are some things that you guys have tried and been like, hell yeah, let's try this for this person? And you're like, no way in hell.
I think those wing palettes, all those old 90s, 80s M&R wing palettes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting designs like across the shoulder blades, sleeve to like the back of the shoulders.
Like the stuff that you see at like beach houses and stuff where it's got like, like Myrtle Beach across the shoulders.
Yeah. Heck no. I've went through so many screens because like the wing palettes are like off leveled. So it creates a sharp edge and it pops the screen on the squeegee because the things are so old, they're not perfect. And so we've been running into those issues. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a bunch of trial and error. I think we got our first lift from our old Puff videos where Alex would do some videos on Puff. And for like a season, we were like the Puff people. Everybody wanted like, hey. No,
I literally have Puff in my notes here because that's what I see you guys doing a lot of is Puff.
Right.
How do you print Puff? I'm sorry. How do you print Puff?
I tell the customer no.
I honestly get hit up. People ask me like, bro, I did what you said. It's still not coming out all right.
No, we do Puff, but like I feel like it's never the manufacturer's suggested amount of Puff. It's like 10x what they say. And then you need that sweet spot. And then also it's like getting the dryer dialed into a sweet spot so it doesn't collapse on itself or have pitting. So like we will do it, but I think it's more, I don't like to take it on. Let me say this in a nice way. We don't like to take it on if it's like big puffy letters. Like we like to take it on when it's a design where there's an element in the design that requires it to be puffed.
Like clouds or something.
But then there's also there's like screen printed transfers from like say Howard or Stalls or something where it's a ready-made puff transfer where you can be like, hey, here's your logo in bold letters. They get the dialed in amounts, everything, and then all I got to do is heat press it and it's puffed perfectly. I don't have to worry about the dryer settings. I don't have to worry about all these other factors. I can just press it and be done.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to ask what's your, and excuse me for my ignorance again, I'm not in the game and Alex knows more but what is your shop, if you don't mind me asking, like breakdown? Like you guys do embroidery, heat transfers, printing, like what is the split between everything?
Well, you guys were talking about earlier about how you were like, oh, I just want to focus on screen printing and I want to get rid of embroidery and all this. Like that was us until basically now. Like I don't have to super get into the weeds about this because I've talked about it in a couple episodes, but basically we had an embroidery place across the street and there was no need for us to bring embroidery in house because they just did embroidery. We just did screen printing. I just took it across the street. Anyway, that person's retiring, wants to sell me the embroidery business. And I'm like, it's kind of a no-brainer. I should bring it in, all this other stuff. So now I'm thinking about bringing embroidery in-house, which I've never had. And it's this whole thing of we have so many clients that want embroidery or it's an add-on or whatever, that it kind of makes sense to do. So it's funny that you guys are like, nope, got rid of it. Fuck it. Like straight screen printing, because that's what we were doing. But for our shop, we focused on screen printing. We have 3 autos. We've been doing it. Upstate is 15 years old now. We do a lot of DTF. We do a lot of, well, I don't want to say a lot of vinyl, but we do offer vinyl mostly for like names and numbers. But our focus in the last 2-3 years has been just high volume screen printing, and then DTF. Literally right now, my electrician is out there converting a small auto into a DTF auto.
What type of auto?
It's a 6.8 Sportsman.
Oh, really?
It's going to have two stamps on it.
2 stamps?
2 stamps, and then the pallets have like the add-on rubber that can, like the heat press pad, basically. So
Nice.
we can do everything DTF a lot faster. And that's a question I have for you guys later. We don't do that right now, but just adding that in. But yeah, that's been us. So I fully get your like just focus on a thing, but like our thing has always been, like, how do I say it? Like you guys are focused on streetwear, and you're, what'd you say, like a year and a half into this new business together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
So like when we first started, we were all in bands, and our focus was band merch. So we were like just band merch.
Yeah.
And then what happens in the evolution is you get burnout on band merch or streetwear or whatever. You start to get a client or two that's like, oh my God, this is a dream client. Like they are 2 emails deep. They have good artwork. They pay their bill, and I don't have to worry about anything. It's like somewhat easy print. That's kind of what happened to us. We had so many bands, and it's chasing around money constantly. It's every order's a rush order. Like all these strange requests. Like you were saying, back when I was doing that, everything was oversized. Like every band design had to be full front.
You're talking about kind of divvying away from, like, it seemed like you had this focus, and then you started,
Yeah.
maybe broadening up, which is,
Yeah.
every shop I think is going to be a little bit different. I think it's based on the end goal, and whether, I don't know if you had an end goal plan or what you wanted your vision of the shop to be. I think we try to work backwards from that, just talking to a lot of people, a lot of shop owners,
my
like,
previous boss.
yeah, they never had necessarily a plan. So it was always like, oh, we got more orders. Now we need another press. Now we need another press. And then they
Yep.
have like 15 presses, and they just hate it.
that you have to
Yep.
sustain.
In every shop we've talked to, almost
100% agree.
every shop is like, hey, I have 20 presses. I haven't made money. Like the most
I
money
made,
is
they
3
always say, we used to have this thing on the show where we would ask the guests 2 presses or 10 presses.
Yeah.
And without fail, everybody is, I was the happiest. I made the most money. I had the best team when I had 2 presses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we recognize like, hey, we don't want to be like these big contract shops. Like they kill it, like, but they run 24/7 with shifts
not.
and everything.
It's
don't
not
wanna
worth
do
it. I
Especially
have,
as we push down. So we wanted to build backwards of like, hey, our end goal is 3 presses, maybe 1 dryer, and then what do we need
Perfect.
to get there? And by building backwards, it allows
Think about
us to basically every time we need to make a decision, a big business changing decision, it allows us to be like, hey, is it going to put us towards our goal, or is it going to kind of stray us away, and we're wasting time?
you
and money?
guys have the perfect mindset with that. And that's why I said me and Andy's answer to that question was always 3 presses.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you got your 2 main workhorses, and you got the one that's just like, this one does the extras and the odd pieces and the small stuff and whatever.
Well, what's actually funny is like I think we saw you out at Logo Daddy. We just
Mhm.
didn't say anything, but you were there with Andy, and that when we went out there to do a tour of that shop, we were mind blown. We're like,
Yeah.
this is it, nothing more. I mean, like
Minus
this is
the vinyl side.
fire.
The
Right.
screen printing, everything, screen printing, the dark room, everything. Loved it. Having the office
Yeah.
space. We wouldn't have like vinyl and wraps and stuff like that. But just having like I think they had the 3 presses, 2
yeah,
presses?
no, they had 3 rocks.
3, and just having that 1 dryer, maybe, a split belt or something. But just like knowing your limitations, because at some point we recognize too is like, we're not going to be able to take on jobs, or we do, but it's going to be a 3-week, 4-week turnaround. But this is
Yeah.
us. Like we have the 3 presses. This is our shop. This is our end goal. And so
Yeah.
that allows us to experiment on stuff. So like sometimes Alex will have an order or something like that, and it's like, hey, we need 8-inch sleeve boards or something, or we need this piece of equipment. Without missing a beat, we'll like buy it because that's the direction we're going anyways. We're going to need them down the road, so we don't have to hesitate. But then if it's something like, say for example, we have a client, Alex had a call the other day where it's one of our bigger clients or one of our higher, more valuable clients, and they were like, hey, I want to do this screen print with embroidery on it. And it's like, yeah, that's probably real tasty and you want to please your customers.
Yeah, give it to them.
But it was pretty easy to be like, hey, we don't do that. And that's not like, we're not going to bring that back just for this.
Saying no is like a huge thing that you just have to like know early on that like saying no isn't a bad thing. Like it's going to give you more opportunity to do more jobs that are tailored to you. But back to what I was saying about deviating from band stuff to like, yeah, we grew and the company's awesome. Everything's good. Like we're in a direction that we're in now. But the thing is we were known for being the band print shop. You know what I mean? Like, and that was good. Like if you're talking about now, like knowing your goal, and I think that's strong because we started to see these other jobs as like, hey, this is way less stressful. They want to pay their bill, whatever. But the problem is the more you go in that easy direction, you start to lose that credibility and notoriety of like, 100%. You're known for this. You know what I mean? You just kind of slowly become another regular print shop. Right. So we always kept our foot in the door with stuff like band merch and tattoo shops and breweries. And we basically liked stuff that had really cool art. You know what I mean? I never wanted to be that like plain Jane bullshit, whatever. I just wanted to do rad art. Like I always wanted to have a high color press because I wanted to do 14 color prints. I wanted to do complicated stuff. I wanted quality to be awesome. So like that's always been our go-to where people come to us because regardless of where they are, a band, a corporate client, whatever, they come to us for the art necessarily. So like that's always been our foot in the door. But the thing I wanted to stress to you guys is like, I think what you're doing with the streetwear thing is awesome, and you should just fucking ride that into the sunset. Like, do that, but also have your second or third press maybe working on another market that isn't your like social media focus. Like for us, people don't know, but we do a shitload of like trade stuff, like contractors. Like it's not fun and flashy to show on social media. Like, hey, we just did this like 10,000 piece order for a lumber yard. But like it funds a ton of the business.
Exactly. It gives us the opportunity to do more with the streetwear.
Right.
I don't think we'll ever be 0% on contract, right? Every shop does it. Not every, but like most shops do it because it pays the bills, right?
Right. It keeps the schedule padded as well.
Like you said, if you're only doing contract day in, day out, it's exhausting and you can't really show or you don't really want to show a lot of it. And one thing that we were talking about, we kind of wanted to ask is like we obviously built a bit of a network through social media, but our early days, we didn't really post much because we couldn't because it was all contract.
Yeah, you can't even share it.
And a lot of times they don't want you posting it because other shops will know or other vendors will know like, oh, they print for them. They know our pricing. They can undercut them or whatever, or just like they don't want other shop or they don't want people know that we print for it. So it's like we couldn't really even show it. Versus when we start doing retail stuff, it's like, hey, here's a sick print and this is how we do it. And we post it and people love that stuff. And so that built a lot of momentum for us versus if you look at a lot of shops they probably do contract and they do a ton of work. But this is one thing I would say with the social media is if you look at whether it's screen printing, whatever, but screen printing for you, this example, if you look at that 100 shops or 100 Instagram pages for this genre that you're doing or like for screen printing, you pull up 100 screen print shops, our shop's going to look different because it doesn't look like a screen printing shop.
Yeah.
It looks like, oh, they know stick streetwear and stuff like that. And that's the differential because a lot of these shops just, here's a picture of a print on the pallet or here's shirts.
Exactly. Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that because obviously do it, right? Like at least do it, put something out there. Yeah. But like you said, you're going to get lost in the crowd with this contract stuff with like, you're just going to blend in.
But that's why I wanted to talk to you guys is because you stand out in that area. Like Alex, you're really good at doing the social marketing. Like, I
appreciate it.
No, for like really, like there's things that you do that I'm like, he's doing a really great job. The one thing that I wanted to bring up is the fucking finger shaking. Dude, I know
Got foam fingers.
Okay.
Dude, honestly, that was just natural, bro. Like I thought I was doing something great and cool when I did it, and then people started like hating in the comments. I'm like, wait, this is a thing? Like, let's
Yeah.
keep it going. So I have my other employees.
I love that you double down on it. Yeah, exactly. Just
He bought these
just
recently.
this and everything.
I guess it's one of those quirky things on the internet, like, just keep it going.
But
for
the thing is, you can't hate on it because it's fucking working.
Oh,
Yeah.
they hate on it though. But it still drives momentum because people will come and be like, "This is the worst, most annoying thing ever." Thanks for your
Drives
comment and
algorithm.
engagement. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like you're helping me grow right now.
Yeah,
But-
this is so cringy. I couldn't even watch the video. I'm like, all
It
right,
genuinely, like in the beginning, because we were experimenting with social media, and one thing that we broke it down to was like, let's do a bunch of different styles, right? Like we don't want to make one style video because when we do something different, we want to have room to play around, but we don't want to be too diverse with it. So we have like a couple meme style things, right? A couple, here's the how-tos, but they're not really how-tos. It's showing us the process without being like, hey, step one, this. It's like a 30 seconds, let's get through this, and you kind of know how to print.
dude.
And then Alex added these green screen ones, which he genuinely thought like in the green screen videos, you point at the, the green screen thing. And so that's where it came from. And it just, took off.
But I think the difference between you, I know there's the finger thing or whatever. It is what it is. But the thing is I think what you have that separates you from other people as well is there are people who want to be a talking head and there's people who want to just be behind the camera and like be on a skateboard or walk around the press and show things off and everything else. You're like, hey, this is me. This is my shop. Let me show you the entire process, talk you through it, whatever. It's not like shirt on table, shirt on press, like hold it up, like look what we made. You're like, hey, we're making this shit today. Customer asked, again, back to that video of the around the pocket or whatever. You're like, hey, customer asked for this. Here is us trying it out. Here's us figuring it out. Now we offer it. It's awesome. Do you guys want to fucking buy one or do you want to be a part of it? Like you're walking them through it rather than just being like, look at us. This is some shit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like post for like me, and we're trying to post like here. It's
Right.
We like Gary Vee a whole bunch here, but it's just like give, then ask. And so our content is just giving out free information, free game.
Right. Which is what I'm saying is like that's what's pulling people in, whether they want to be like, oh, the finger thing or whatever. They're still watching your videos.
Yeah, no, for sure. Some people just say like behind the scenes is not as glamorous. It's like 10% the footage and 90% the edit. Because I'll say these things in the video because a lot of people are like afraid to be on camera or they mess up their takes and stuff like that. And anybody that's watching, it's super natural here. Like I might say the same thing like 20 times if I'm just off that day, but I'll get it the 20th time and then I'll piece together this edit on my phone. That's also another thing is like we just make everything on our phones. We don't have anybody making the content.
Which you shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Because we don't want to invest. It doesn't need to be that good. iPhone footage, user-generated content, like what we're creating, that's all you need. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
More of a real aspect between the watcher and the person, because when it looks like a commercial,
it's more real. They want the raw behind the scenes. They want what you're doing. You're doing it right, is what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm going to speak more on it, even though it's Alex's story to tell. I think he's also very humble about it. Like he said, he started 8-9 years ago, and we went back and we were watching some of his videos on his early brand.
But I've seen those. That's what I'm saying. I've been following you for a while. Like I've seen the old stuff and the new stuff. And I'm just saying
to watch, but it's fun and it's cool to see where you started. I think a lot of people are scared to go through that, and so they're more
100%.
I don't like being in front of the camera, but it forces me sometimes. And if you do it enough, 8 years of being in front of the camera, it's not a big deal.
8 years of being fucking beaten down into not caring.
Yeah, people talking on the comments, being like, "You suck" and everything. You get over it. And I think Alex is just phenomenally strong about that, right? Like he's done the experience, he has the knowledge, and he just also doesn't care. Like he likes to make this. But I think it's vital. I mean, he's a heavy hitter, and I think he's going to be humble any way he explains it.
But it's the same for me. Like I'm not a like public speaker. I'm not like someone who's like look at me on stage or whatever. But like I just wanted to be as involved in this craft in this industry as possible because I just love absorbing it and learning and like bringing things back to my own shop and just it's my life. Like it's my passion. Like I don't just do this for money. I actually fucking love it. So like in order for me to immerse myself in all these things, I like go visit a million other shops and I go to these industry things and I started a fucking podcast and I do all these other things because I just want as much information as possible. And then like when I go to these things, people think I'm just this like wide open, like, look at like I want to be on stage. Oh, hey, do you want to go do this thing or this thing? I'm just like, no, I want to be back in the corner. Leave me the fuck alone. Like,
no, for sure. For sure.
So I get that. Like you're just doing it because you feel like this is what it is to do to grow your brand and grow your thing and just be a part of it. And like you're gonna have the cringy shit like early on, but you're doing a great job right now, is what I'm saying. Like just keep doing it. It's going to get you more and more business.
One thing that we want to like highlight on, I think I was watching a Printavo podcast with him previously. It's like I think that guy Steven, he said you invest into equipment, that's one. Most people invest in equipment, then people. And then we thought today, it's just like, why is content not the third? Or why is that not the most important?
Right.
And for us, like, we're trying to change our mentality because it's not who's the best at screen printing. It's who's the best known at screen printing.
Exactly. 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's one thing a lot of people overlook. And I think I'll reference small businesses, but all businesses in general, like they don't prioritize it. And it's difficult to be like, hey, every day. And you don't have to post like 10 times a day. I know you watch a Gary Vee video. He's like, post 7 times a day, 8 times a day. Like, I think that intimidates people from posting because if you do once a week, do it once a week, you know, put time into it. But a lot of people are like, last thing, if I'm sitting down, finish my day, do my emails, do the work. By the time you're there, you're tired. You don't want to do it. And so you don't post it or you just post a picture or something like that.
I don't want to do it sometimes. Sometimes I'm out there after a long day and like we're ending out a cool job. And I'm like, fudge, I have to film this all.
Right. Yeah.
But you just have to.
But I think that's also too the dynamic of being able to offset us. So I do a lot of the behind the scenes, the operations, the invoicing, setting that stuff up. So that offloads it from Alex that he can focus on the printing process, the social media, all this stuff. Like we have our own kind of world where I don't question what he does here. He doesn't question what I do, and it works beautifully. And that allows him to focus on that stuff, which grows that, and vice versa. Like we were talking about earlier with the presses. If he's like, hey, this is the equipment, I don't question him. I have full trust in him. Like he knows what he's talking about. Let's do it then. And vice versa. If there's something I see and I'll bring it to him, he's like, I trust him on this. So
processes. I was a mess. My first shop was complete disaster, really, honestly. I mean, things were messy. I mean, things were unorganized, not right, lockups, PO, whatever. It was the whole 9 yards. But then he walked in and, bro, he's killing it with putting in processes in place. Like, he's literally the reason why we got Printavo, because I'm too lazy to honestly set all that stuff up, get automations and stuff like that.
I don't think it's lazy. I think again, Alex is built to do.
It's different. It's different. I don't feel like the type of mind that Alex is versus the type of mind that you are is. They're both 100% necessary, and they're both very strong. And it's like you almost need you two to meet and be together to form a successful business, because if it was just Alex or just you, it probably wouldn't succeed on its own. And obviously you guys tried that, and you were like, hey, I don't have the creative mind to go this direction, and he's like, I don't have the organizational mind to go in this direction. So the both of you together makes it fucking what it is.
For his shop, like he was prioritizing the social media, and he got a lot of traction. But like you said, the invoicing, the back end was the best. For my previous business, I was locked in, invoicing, everything structured, real nice. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have a lot of business because I wasn't posting, and people like that's how people find you, especially this thing. Yeah. So it's like we found each other, and it's like, it's almost like a matchmake,
right?
Like a little soulmate type of thing.
And it's that Goldilocks zone of like being a good printer and having good social skills and having the good, back end and everything, because you can't just be good at one of those things. Like you could have you could have deep pockets, say, parents' money or something, and be like, I'm going to go buy the best equipment, have the best shop, everything's shiny and perfect. I'm going to read up, be an awesome screen printer. But if nobody knows about your shop, nobody knows to come there, nobody likes you because you're a dick, like your shop sucks and it goes to hell. It's not going to work.
We were kind of talking about this earlier. Yeah.
You need to be humble, and you need to have these qualities, and you need to roll with the punches. You need to like be up with the trends, and you just need to have all of those things. Like even me personally, like our shop, like there's things that we're lacking at just because I don't have that necessarily person. Like we've always been really good with like social media stuff. We're good printers, but it's like there's certain areas where we're probably not vocal enough, or we're not doing this enough, or we're not, doing, like, I'm not out there doing all the like door-to-door outreach, or doing the Binghamton commerce thing, or just being out there and being the handshaking guy. Like I would rather be like, let's just print really cool and do social and hope it works out. Whereas I probably need a third thing to wrap it all up and be like, holy shit, this is perfect all the way around. It's just,
I want to flip it on you, like, because we found that like a partnership helps. And one thing Alex was on for a while was like, if you want to go fast, go alone.
Yeah.
But
if you want to go far,
go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were going to finish it out.
No.
but like for you building your own shop and kind of being the head guy, right, to run everything, do you feel, everybody feels thin at times, but like, do you feel like you're spread thin, or like you focus too much in one area? You're like, oh shoot, this starts slipping, or
yeah.
You have a team now that you've built out, and you trust enough to delegate all these tasks.
Yeah. In the beginning, I was a partnership. When I first started Upstate, I was a partnership. It went to hell pretty quick. We were still a manual shop when I had to buy him out and went separate ways. And I think the reason why that didn't work, I mean, this is a whole fucking podcast in itself, but basically I'm a very driven, I have my idea, I have the discipline, I have the work ethic to do everything that needs to happen to make this work. Like I will be here till midnight to just make sure it works and happens. He was not that person. He was probably our worst employee. He was the last one here, first one to leave kind of mentality. Like he would mess jobs up and just be like, well, I'm the owner. It is what it is. Fuck it. And it's like, I was the office. I've always been the office person. Like I know how to do all these other things, but like my focus is the office and the marketing and all these other things. And then I've hired printers to do all the other stuff. So early on, I was like, dude, partnerships never again. Like anytime anyone comes to me and they're like, I want to start a business and I'm lacking in this thing and I'm thinking about getting a partner, my first reaction is, nope, do not do it. Do not get a partner. It's not a good idea.
How long were you guys friends before that? Because I feel like this goes back to just like dating somebody, relationships. We were friends testing out the waters for what, a year or two?
Yeah, it was like, but it was also every time we linked up, we were on the same page.
Right. I'm not saying your guys' thing won't work. It probably will. But it needs to be you have your roles, I have my roles, which is what it sounds like you guys have. Like me and him, it was like I have 95% of the fucking weight on my shoulders and he has 5% of the weight on it. Like he just wanted to be production manager, which I could have hired. Like I didn't need him to be half owner, because what got sour is like I'm doing all the work and then he's getting the same amount of pay as me. Like this is dumb. This isn't working.
I want to speak on that a little bit because I kind of want to advocate for the partnerships. I know it is because we talk to a lot of people and unfortunately a lot of partnerships don't work out, and a lot of times it's money related. I don't know if that's the case. You don't have to tell us. It
wasn't necessarily money for me. It was just the fact that I was busting my ass and he would just stroll in at fucking 10 o'clock and be like, oh, it is what it is, and go home.
I think it has to be an understanding of, besides the money thing, of like the actual effort part. I think it's the same with the relationship as well. It has to be a mutual understanding of what we say is like, you just got to always assume the other person's doing more than you. Like it's 60-40, right? You can't ever do 50-50, right?
Never.
Sometimes, Alex is doing way more busting ass and stuff like that, and other times I'm doing it. But there's going to be times where I feel like I'm doing more and he's not doing enough. But I also got to remember he's doing as much, if not, he's probably doing more. So if I'm like, man, he's not doing shit, I got to remember he's probably doing more than me. I gotta carry my weight still.
It's funny the way you're saying this reminds me of like my own personal thing. I got divorced like 2 years ago, and I went down this road of like, I don't know, watching fucking, like I got targeted on like Instagram and stuff, like all these like relationship goal, like fixing things or whatever. And there was this video that was basically this woman where she was saying that a marriage is never 50-50, which works for business too. It's like a marriage is never 50-50. She was like, me and my husband basically, like, I come home from work and we always tell each other, like, I'm at a 20. And he's like, all right, I got your extra, like I got the 80. And then the next day he's like, I'm at a 10. And she's like, I got the 90. Like they know to pick up the slack for the other person, because then tomorrow it might be the other way around where they're constantly doing this rather than just expecting it to be 50-50 all the time. Because I feel like when you expect it to be 50-50 all the time, you get bitter at the other person being like, well, I did my chores. Why didn't you do your chores? And then as that person's bitching about you not doing your stuff, they're just sitting on the couch. They're not willing to help out and carry that other 30% or
never
whatever.
go toe to toe. Nobody's ever happy at the end to be like,
Yeah.
I did this, well, I did this, well, I did this, well, I did this.
Right.
You know,
It needs to be like, I'm willing to put in the extra effort today because I know you're going to be willing to put in the extra effort tomorrow.
But it seems like you were always pulling maybe the 80 or however.
It was
percent.
always 80. Like it was never. And I would
That's
80's
more-
80's generous for him. Like it's more like fucking 98.
Oh, it's 99-1.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Exactly.
It works because me and Alex, we have to have that understanding, and we keep each other in check. You know, sometimes we'll have to talk about it, but he also understands the same way I understand that, like, we're both working hard, right? And then sometimes you got to sit and like talk, because otherwise you hold it inside. And I think a lot of times business partners will hold it inside, not communicate, and then the resentment will just build up. And then you talk to these business owners like, I hate my business partner.
We're just talking about relationships right now. We're not even talking about business.
We're relationship podcast.
You guys are all in love, and it's just, you know, it's a bromance, and you got to make it work.
I mean, but I'm also gonna preface that with like, we don't always, not every day. Sometimes we bump heads, or like he comes in bad mood, I come in bad mood. It's not 100% like we love each other, everything's amazing. Like,
but how quick is it?
It's just how do you?
But you communicate. You communicate is the thing. Like communication for me is what I learned.
Yeah, how quick is it resolved? I mean, like it doesn't last more than
if we got any issues, like
minutes,
we might be beefing. Sometimes I got to sit there and be like, yo, what's going on? Like if you're having a bad day, tell me so I can help out instead of just being like that, or vice versa. He might call me out and I just like didn't sleep last night or something. He'll be like, bro, what's going on? And I'll be like, I'm just tired, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm just trying to get through the day. But like you said, it's whether you'd be like, oh, hey, I'm the 90%. It sounds corny, but you don't have to do percentages. Just be like, hey, I'm not feeling great today.
Right. Like I'm low today. Yeah.
Like something happened in my personal life. We don't have to, you want to talk about it? Like we'll talk about personal life issues, because we got, like, I want to be there for him too, beyond work, and vice versa. He's always usually there for me as well. So it just levels out, but it's not every day is beautiful sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
But
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, but you kind of make it fit, right? Like there's going to be problems. How do we fix it? That's what matters. Like I don't care what the problem is.
Guys, let's hug it out. Let's figure it out.
You know, as a business owner, you don't care if something happens, right? Oh, you ruined 100 shirts. Like it's gonna happen. I don't care, but how are we gonna fix it? And let's make sure it doesn't happen.
Let's move past it and like work the problem, not sit here and yell at you about it. Yeah. Well, back to answer your question for that real quick. Like once I got that, I feel like to me, in all honesty, now looking back at it, it wasn't this like, I don't know, it's kind of a big deal in my life, but it was kind of like a stepping stone in being a business owner, that I had to go through that struggle to like learn what to do and what not to do moving forward. You know what I mean? I guess as far as like putting your trust in people and business and all this other stuff. But the lucky thing that I had in the beginning was I had hired my best friends, which to some people, again, is like, this is a really bad thing because it can go really badly. But I've felt really good about my best friends because we're very close and we tell each other everything, and we're not just like, you know, like masculine bros that don't like, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like a friend that you can tell like fucking intimate shit to, and then there's people that are just like, oh, we just have to be like one-upping each other constantly.
When you told that friend to work, it was out of respect, and he would respect you. Correct?
Right.
Our friends work here too. So.
Yeah. So basically, I had a couple friends that I knew that I could delegate more of like a management role to, that isn't necessarily about pay. It isn't about just like doing business. Like I can leave today and know that if anything happened or anybody had to stay late or do anything, they wouldn't even question it. They would just handle it, get it done, do what they got to do. And it wasn't even a struggle. It wasn't even a big deal. It was just like, I got you.
That's
So,
dope.
so that's kind of what happened to me was I was just like, hey guys, we're all in this together. As long as we can like grow this together, like I will do whatever I can to make sure we're all growing and all doing cool shit necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to tell them that and then have it all just be I'm just benefiting and they're not doing anything. Like I want it to be a place where we can all, and everybody says like when you're here, your family or whatever. It's like, no, like I legit want to help you in any way possible. So
Yeah, that's dope, dude.
I mean that's kind of where that is. But anyway, we got off on a hard feelings tangent that I wasn't expecting.
Bro, sad
I think
boy
it's important
hours.
though, because you ignore stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
which one I was watching? I'm not gonna lie, I was watching a couple podcasts. Like, again, I don't know. I don't know. He's like, oh, sure wants to do a podcast, and we have people hit us up for podcasts, and I'm just like dragging my feet on it because
Yeah.
we've had a couple bad ones where it's just like, it
not
almost,
well thought out.
yeah, and then I was just like, all right, well, let me watch a couple because like I don't know these guys, and I'm watching, and I'm like, I love this. Like, this is fantastic. So first of all, I appreciate what you guys do.
Hey, thank you.
I love the podcast, but
Yeah.
we were watching the one. I spaced on what we were talking about.
Which one?
Well, what was the last thing you said?
I was just gonna say that like the whole goal of this is it's like I just want to have it be like a weekly therapy where I'm talking to another shop and like we're shooting the shit and we're just like
Oh, that's what
it's
it was.
basically shop talk with each other. Like
Yeah, we
there's no
sure
goal here, there's no agenda. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to get anything from you. I just want to talk to you guys about your shit so that we can just go back and forth to be like, hey,
Right.
can we help each other out in any way? And also now all I want to do is go hug my friends when we're done with this because of all this fucking feelings talk. Like
Right. I was watching the Lee Stewart one, and that one's heavy on emotions as well, more for like
Yeah.
person. And ours, I guess, is more business as well. But it matters because like if you like hold that in, you just build that resentment or whatever
Yeah.
emotion. If it's happiness, like you need to share that with people. And I think
Mhm.
it's important. So we did get on a tangent, but I think if
it's important. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
I think
for
that
business,
I think that's the thing though too is it's like we are in a business but we are human beings and it is real like every day that we without us and our feelings and whatever like we can't operate and we can't have what we are trying to do. Like I don't want to just come to work and be bitter with everybody every day.
No.
yeah. Yeah.
So screen printing,
Here we go.
what have you guys taken away recently with social? Like, do you guys research stuff on social? Like, what's going to be the next thing I can do? Or what is the algorithm doing? What is anything? Or are you just fucking throwing things at the wall and hoping
I
they
ain't gonna
stick?
lie. It's a little bit random. What we kind of, giving out information, showing people the process of course, it's like those old TV shows, like How It's Made,
Right.
Did you ever used to watch that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I was addicted to that show too. And like
Yeah.
also like antique, like not the road show, but like antique hunters. What is that?
The one dude
American
just
Pickers,
died.
bro.
American Pickers.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. Like I
Yeah.
was like 12 years old. I'm like, let me watch this. 'Cause I
Yeah.
just wanna-
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that, but I think just showing people behind the scenes and getting to know us as characters, because we have our printers out there. They're on the stories, they're on the posts, they have names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So highlighting the characters of the shop, creating the team environment with that, but doing day in the lives, green screen videos, because we're not just making screen printing content. We're making content about what's popping, and what I kind of believe in is just if you have a niche plus relevancy, you have something that can go viral. So like recently, yeah,
I was going to say, speaking of that, what is this fucking whole thing with Shaq?
everybody says that. Honestly, everybody that we've been meeting lately, like they're like, "How's Shaq? How's Shaq?" And I'm just like,
Well, it's just like I always try to look before I record. Like again, I've been following you guys, so like I know what's going on for the most part. But I was like, I'm just gonna look for things that stand out that aren't like the norm, whatever. And then I went to your YouTube and I saw this video on Shaq, and I was like, this has to be some bullshit like fuck clickbait or something. And I look into it, and you're like actually talking to Shaq, and I was like, how does this happen?
So
no, go
I
ahead.
kind of want to give my perspective if that's all right, but
Okay.
basically, he DMs me.
Hey,
I think
just so you know, it's all okay. We can talk here openly.
I thought he was bugging me. He messages me at night and he's like, Shaq DM'd us. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I go to the page and I check the Instagram. I'm like, Shaq DM'd us. That's great. Go to the page, make sure it's the real one. Everything. I'm like,
Right.
And again, this is where I think Alex shines, and you see it on the Instagram page. He makes it very personal, like a post that he's talking to, a story post. It's he's showing you. He's not just like, hey audience, like I'm selling stuff. He's like talking to you. It's a conversation, and I wouldn't have been able to sell Shaq, and I don't think a lot of people could have. But the way Alex handled it was just like, yo, Shaq, what up? And I'm like, bro, why'd you just text him? Like, you mean, hey, good to meet you, like big fan?
No, he's just like his normal self, like it was anybody.
Yeah, and I think by doing that, he was able to lock that in, whether he, Shaq was already going to sell with or print with us or whatever. But just him being him allows for those opportunities, as well as obviously building the Instagram to get on his radar in the first page, in the first point. But yeah, just being able to be himself kind of, I feel like, locked him in. And then again, another thing, that one of the first points of contact, he's like, should I just FaceTime call him? I'm like, no, but maybe if you think so. And so
Right.
Alex just want to win. FaceTime calls him one day, and we're all like nervous. We're like, oh my God, he's not going to answer. Shaq just, I'll never forget, this is how I answered with Alex on the phone. I got a video clip. He answers, hey, just the man I'm looking for. I'm like, bro, that is iconic. But the whole conversation is just casual, just like this. And I don't think a lot of people could pull that off because they put Shaq on such a pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing. That
Fucking
Alex,
brass balls to do the typo thing.
Oh, you saw? Yeah, no, I was sitting at a Mexican restaurant. I was like, yo, we should spell his name wrong and just post it.
And stuff like that is just ingenious. And I'm like, no, absolutely not, but maybe again, because this is just,
I love how your answer is always instantly like, no, like I would not do that. All right, I guess we'll do it.
I mean, and I think at this point I'm used to it because again, Alex being the dreamer, he's like, I got this crazy concept, and I'm like,
yeah,
me, no, but let's talk about it, And I'm nervous. And Alex, like the full uncut video, like it's all cut down on YouTube and on Instagram.
It's real. It's real.
I'm sitting, like we're all hiding behind him off camera, and my stomach is turning because Shaq, you could tell he's like pissed, but he's like,
yeah, you could tell he was genuinely like,
Alex,
I should not have trusted these people.
Right. And Alex is just dragging it out. I'm like, bro, tell him, please tell him right now, tell him. And he's dragging out. It's like, but it's really good. And when he gets them, Right. But I think,
I already printed all these, bro. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. And I think at the end of the day, like it's something like Alex handled phenomenally. It's a huge opportunity. And, he was able to lock that in. But yeah, it's
What came first, that video or the one where you guys went to, I'm guessing, one of his DJ things or something?
Yeah, no, we did a couple orders for him, but that video came first, the prank video.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the thing, the note that I written down was, just the Shaq story in general, but like, I've always had this thing where I'm always nervous to, even for pickup orders here, like I'm always nervous, even though I know we did a good job of the customers first, like pulling the shirt out of the box. And I was like, this is fucking Shaq. And you guys go to a thing, and I'm guessing you're in like some green room or something. And you're like, hey, here's some shirts we made for you. Open them up. Like, you had to have been nervous as hell.
I'll let you tell that part of the story, but I didn't get to go, unfortunately, but leading up to it,
in person?
We printed those shirts for him and we were filming everything. And then again, earlier that week, he was coming to Kansas City to the Royal Stadium to like do a show after the game. And Alex was just like, I'm going to text them, see if we can just drop them off. And like, I was like, sure. I mean, that'd be sick, but probably not, but let's try it. And so leading up, he texted him, we don't really get a response. And so I unfortunately couldn't make it until day of.
No, like right before the game, I was like, bro, because I told people, I was like, I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going. So like 45 minutes before like the Royals game, I get a random call from his manager. He's like, yo, I got 5 tickets. You guys want them right now? You got to head here right now. I was like, oh yeah. Send them through. It's like on those fly moments that you have to really kind of take captive. It's just like, who cares? I don't know what this is going to be like, but let's just go.
Well, win or lose, you got a hell of a story.
Exactly. So I'm so glad we took that opportunity and met him there and stuff like that. It was funny because he has his own suite. It's like Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game. You got certain people that are in there. And so me and my 4 friends, we go there And we're like, yeah, we're in this suite. And like hold up the tickets. They're like, are these legit? Are you sure? They were like, you guys don't look like you should be here.
Right.
And stuff like that. And then they just let us in because I had the legit tickets.
Right.
It was awesome. So
Hell yeah, that seems like a good opportunity. And it was funny too. At the end of the video, you got him to hold the shirt up and say, "Go to your print shop."
you know what's crazy? I almost missed out. I didn't even think that he's like, yo, record this. It's not like he's just thinking like, dude, he thinks like viral. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
He's like,
right.
yo, this can go viral. He's like, I'm gonna help you guys out. Let me say this. I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about it because I was so in the moment.
Right.
And yeah, no, it was tight. It was cool.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys got that opportunity. Is he still doing stuff, or did that push you in any directions, or what's going on?
I think for like hype, yeah, but I'm not gonna like what I say is like don't believe the hype, but we're not pushing like 20,000 units for him or anything like.
No, yeah, I figured that. I'm just meaning as far as like generally when a job like that comes along, even me, like you said, other people keep asking you about it. It's just a good talking point to get people to, and it's also a trust thing. That's why like on people's websites, they're always like trusted brands that trust us or whatever. It's like you can now from now on say, fucking Shaq worked with us. Like you could say that forever. People are gonna know who you're talking about.
Exactly. I think it just helps our reputation with our customers and stuff like that. Just have a big name like that.
Yeah.
We were talking about last night watching the election, like what other male figure, my friend said, he's like, that's bigger than Shaq. That's just so like no.
Yeah.
Besides like Donald
iconic.
Trump or like
Yeah.
But even then it's just like worldwide iconic. There's
that
few
dude is
people
everywhere.
like you go to any other country, you say Shaq. I promise you, like any age range too, like young kids to like older folk, they like everybody knows who he is because he's had such a like positive communal impact. You know.
Yeah. He even has like like weird snacks and shit now, like at the grocery store.
They got some at the. He had some at the thing, right?
He's a unique character. The whole pranking thing came from him actually pranking me. I'm not going to go into it because it's weird. And like, but like he pranked me and got me really good. And everybody's like, no way he did that to you. I was like, yeah, but
I want to ask, but I won't because you were already like, it's weird, and I
don't think we should. Honestly. But he got me good.
Okay, good.
It was something simple, but
simple.
But Alex came back and he's like, "I'm gonna get it back," and that's kind of how it came down. But
all right, that makes me feel better at least to know that like you didn't just pull this out of your ass and try to prank a high level customer right off the bat.
Yeah, no, I've always had that idea. I've always wanted to film people like pulling out like the first shirt is misspelled. I don't know why that's funny to me, but I don't do it often, but I did on him.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to touch on this just because it seems like an important kind of conversation. The way the world and our industry right now, a lot of people are focused on DTF stuff. Are you guys bringing that in for any of the streetwear stuff? Are you noticing that people even care in the streetwear industry, or is it just like not on the radar right now?
Yeah, it's we use it. We have a heat press. We have a hat press. We don't outwardly sell DTF or transfers, whatever you want to call them. We use them in places where printing isn't ideal. So like tags for hoodies, like you don't want to print on like that material and stuff like that. So transfers are perfect for that. You know, we don't even do honestly like hats anymore for, you know, transfers or patches, heat press, stuff like that. Stalls is goated for all that stuff. And if we do, we use them. But it's just, I don't understand what's going on with it. Everybody loves it. Like, I don't think
that's why it's topical, because it's such a thing in our industry that is now opening up high color, low quantity things. And the thing is too, is we can argue it as screen printers all day long and be like, quality's not that good, feels like a sticker, like this and this and this. But then I go to the mall with my daughter and I'm walking through like Zoomies and Vans and all these other stores, and it's like every fucking shirt is a transfer.
Yeah, I like what you said in a previous podcast. Is like you like wearing the shirt made out of somebody's basement. It's ugly, but like the terrible print. That's literally what the kids want nowadays. They don't care if there's misregistration.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want. And I've been doing this forever.
Especially, I would say emphasis on the streetwear though.
I'm not saying we're aiming for imperfections, but I'm saying like the more human crafted it is, it's just like
people want.
It's got history.
They want gritty. Like we did a video on a texture pack of like literally simulating cracked plastisol, right? And people hate on it because it's like, oh, it's not authentic or whatever. But the number of requests of people are like, oh, I wanted to like put a texture pack on it so it looks, you know, distressed or something like that. Like they don't want a clean print. Like, yeah, I'm sure schools and businesses and
Which
stuff.
is the best thing for a screen printer. It's like instant money when someone's like, "Can you make this look like shit?" You're like, "I got you."
I'll charge extra for that. You know,
no, yeah, we have one client. He's like, I want it faded, and like, dude, it's almost like not even there. I was like, okay, one pass, 230 match. I don't
Right.
Yeah.
Don't even have to be lined up perfectly.
Going back to the DTF is like, I don't understand the hype. I get it but I think it's for the shops that are trying to do everything, because that's going to umbrella a lot of stuff for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, where we're trying to go and the goal that we have, it doesn't make too much sense, except for like those certain times where it's like it does make sense. But we're not trying to supplement a whole market of printing with transfers. And even though every time you bring it up, they're like, oh, they're better now. No, they feel better now. It doesn't really matter to us because that's not the direction we're going. But if it
I just
does,
didn't know. I just didn't know if you're seeing it, because again, like in the retail market or the corporate market that we do a lot of stuff in, even the bands nowadays too are asking for it. So I didn't know if they're asking for it for you guys or if it's just not in that market.
I think it's just maybe not in the market too, because I want to ask a lot of times for the bands, what's the shirt what shirt blanks are they printing on? Are they like
that was literally my next question for you guys is like, what are your favorite blanks to use?
Yeah. So I guess to transition it, these people that want the transfers, they're probably doing them on Gildan's, on maybe Comfort Colors, on a low end like heavyweight blank or something like that.
Like in all honesty, a lot of the time they're looking for more of a premium blank. Like we just did a DTF order a little while ago that was front, back, both sleeves. It was super detailed. It had a lot of like photorealistic look to it. It was supposed to look like fall leaves on a black hoodie, but it had like a church in it was like for like a metal band or whatever. But like they requested it to be DTF because of the amount of fades and detail and all these things, and they actually looked super good. Like they looked good, they felt good, like everything about it. Like we were like, holy shit, this is where this stuff is going. But more often than not, what we're getting is we're getting a customer who say we've had for years that normally orders like 500 pieces or something of like a 14 color print. And they're like, I just want to test the water. Kind of like what you were saying you used to do with Alex is like, hey, I want to test the waters with this. Send me your DTG and I'll do it. It's almost like that where they're like, hey, I want to do like 24 of these first, see how they do. And then if they do really well, I'll do a pre-order and I'll get like 500 of them or something. So it's opened up the door to be like, all right, we can do unlimited color count on 10 pieces or something.
I wonder, we can go back to the blanks, but I'm curious, do you feel like that devalues what you do for screen printing? Because you said you love doing the 10 colors, the big colors, but you don't want to do those for small runs. And then if you can just get a transfer for $5-10 that has that and no minimum, then all of a sudden, like a lot of people, no brain, are going to pick that option because they don't want to have a 100-piece minimum.
Yes and no. I think that I obviously prefer the craft of screen printing. I prefer the quality. I think that it's not going anywhere. I think it's going to be here for forever. But also, it's like it's a premium product at that point. Like if anything, it makes screen printing more valuable in the sense of I want it to be like I know I could get this cheaper thing and it'll do the job. But the premium is for me to get this 14 color screen print, sim process, whatever. And it'll be there. But in a pinch, I could do this. Or if I want to do 10,000 shirts, my grandmother's face on it, like perfect photo quality, then let's do a digital. Really what all of this is, and I know we keep bringing this up, and I never want it to be a this or that conversation. I want it to be it's another tool that I have in my tool belt. Almost like you guys saying, now I can do this puff print, or I can do this thing or this thing. It's not like you're saying puff printing is taking over all screen printing. It's just another option to give your client what they want.
Yeah.
So like for me, DTF is that we have customers now that always want these crazy colors and all this stuff. And it's like, now I can offer them something. I can have a tool now where I can be like, hey, we can make this for you. I don't have to say no. And I'm still going to strive for the best quality in that market. Like I want the best DTF, which we've tried, 40 different DTF printers and tried different things and different post press and everything to where we're like, we feel really confident in this product and what we're doing right now is awesome. Like I'm glad we have that tool in our tool belt is all.
Can you grab your backpack? All right, grab your stuff.
Our guys
We're at our
leaving.
other home. We're at our graphic designer's computer.
Let him do what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Say a couple words.
You good?
Grab it.
All right.
It's just everything or bag?
Just about that. We operate not out of a huge shop. It's only like 4,000, 3,500 square feet. So
Hey, you're a real place, dude. We're in the middle of a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah, I don't know. DTF is cool. I don't think it has a space for us, but it for sure has a space in the industry.
Right.
I just not worry, but I think if we bring it in, it would devalue in some sense. Because if you can quote out something where it's like $5 for an unlimited color print, low minimum.
The truth of it is it's really the way it's priced for us, especially, is almost close to a screen print. Like if someone was like, I want a 12 color screen print at 200 pieces, and they were like, oh, I want 200 pieces quoted DTF, like it's going to be maybe a little less, but it's going to be pretty close because it's still a lot of labor of like, I got to order the DTF. Like I gotta press these all. I got to press them twice. Like
I did a video about this with like DTG versus, screen printing a design. It's like you can do it, but you're still paying 10 to 15 bucks per DTG. You might as well hit this quantity of 48 pieces. You're paying the same price, but it's going to last. When are you going to, all these thrifting kids, they're not pulling out DTF t-shirts out of the bin.
Right.
They want more, they want screen printing, they want the craftiness of it. So I don't think DTF is going to hold the value for streetwear brands in 20 years because either one, it's going to be peeling off, which looks bad. Those are the flaws that we don't want.
Right.
Not looking for. Or else it's still going to feel like a sticker to them in 20 years.
I agree.
So, do you think, I guess, can I ask you, do you think does it matter because we're talking from the perspective of a manufacturer, the people that make the shirts that understand in depth. Do you think it matters for the unknowledge, like somebody who doesn't know or doesn't care, just wants this design on a shirt? They're like, oh, it's cheaper, do that. Or, oh, I don't have a minimum, do that.
I feel like it's such a high focus and on our radar because we're thinking about it all day, every day. To the customer who walks into Zoomies or whatever and sees his favorite skateboarder doing an ollie, like photographed like 18 by 20 on the front of a shirt, he's like, fuck yeah, I want that shirt. He's not thinking about, is that screen printed? Is that DTF? Is that DTG? They're just like, I want this because this conveys what I want to put on my body.
That's true.
But I think I want to transition for you again because we got to pick the shirt. I think if we don't offer it, it holds the value of our screen print, and to transition into blanks, that's something we want to uphold here. Is like, we're not going to be, the cheapest shop, but as a trade-off, we want to focus on the quality and give good stuff. So we have like a price, a tier system. Like if I don't know what blank I want, well, we have like the good, better, best, right? We're not going to say like cheap, here's your cheap Gildan's. We're like good, better, best. And our best are going to be like, hey, these are premium. You're going to be paying premium, but these are nice shirts. And when you feel them, when you wear them, you're going to love them.
You're going to have returning customers if you go this option.
Right.
So,
we never want to upsell. We want to educate our customer. And it's always going to be like, hey, if you're starting a brand, maybe it's worth it to get 50 shirts at a very cheap, like budget friendly option so you can get them to as many people as possible. But the other option is you can get high quality premium shirts and start your brand on.
Well, it's all about impressions. Like, do you want that customer to wear that shirt once, or do you want it to be their new favorite shirt that they wear 100 times?
Right. That's one thing Alex always points out is like, if you don't.
What? I don't know what this one is.
No, if you don't get your shirt into your customer's top 10 or top 5 rotation.
Everybody has top 5.
There it
is. To. If you don't make it in the top 5, don't even do it.
Right.
I agree.
Just think about it, every time you do laundry, what's the first 5 shirts that you're going to wear?
Half the t-shirt is the comfort, and then the other half's the design. A lot of people focus 100% on the design and then cheap out on the blank, and then it's like, oh my God, it's a disaster.
Yep.
Like, what are the shirts you're wearing out when you hang out with your friends? You don't want to be the shirt when it's like a lazy Sunday and you got to clean the bathroom. I'm gonna throw on that shirt. I got to wear a shirt just to cover my body.
I know that shirt.
But it's a safety orange, giveaway shirt that I got for a run. I'm not wearing this in public, but I'll wear it to like do yard work. Like, you don't want to be that. And you want to kind of, especially for these brands, we're trying to build out an image for them. So
I'll pick this up.
Okay. But yeah, so going back to blanks, so we can retransition. We do have a lot of blanks. We got all the S&S arsenal, the Sanmar arsenal, but we do offer mainly like, hey, we want to push good quality. We don't want to push you out of your budget. So if you have budget constraints, we want to get you the best option within that range. Yeah. But also at the same time, we want you to sell a good product so your customers love it, so you buy more shirts, so we print you more shirts. Like, at the end of the day, the best thing we can do for our customer is help develop their brand, because they'll come back to us. Like, we don't want to just sell whatever one time and we never see the customer again. We want to build these relationships, and by building their brands, we build our relationship and build our brand, you know? So it's kind of something like that.
But I think it's also one of those things too. If you can offer stuff that you have wholesale with, or have found a weird connection or built a relationship that the next streetwear company can't deliver, then that's just another thing. Hey, look at that. Another thing that sets you apart.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we built a relationship with LA Apparel because we've had one massive order with them.
Oh.
And then we were able to open that discussion of like, hey, if we continue this volume, you know, and that's any manufacturer, right? AS Color, Independent, like these high quality blank companies, if you can push volume with them and they'll give you better pricing, it's kind of like a catch-22 cycle where it's like you're able to then offer better blanks at a better price and more customers will buy them. And then it continues, like you can get your customer the best option at a better price.
I might have a connection I'll email you about out of this. I don't want to talk about it on the podcast, but I might have something that I can set you guys up with.
No, for sure. Like we're pretty tied in with LA right now. But no, back to the whole deals and stuff like that. In 2020, I think I made a video on TikTok for my old clothing brand, and we were like, me and my friend Dono, we made the 50 for 250 deal. Like OG on TikTok, like 50 shirts for $250. We were buying all style blank t-shirts. You get a one color screen print. That went viral for us during that time. I literally cut off all my contract vendors back then and was just like, I'm going straight TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I had the DMs flooded, 50 orders, like just ready to go. I'd wake up, I'm like, all right, let's just respond to this one. They're ready to, it's such a low entry for all these brands. They wanted to eat that up. And then eventually I closed down that shop and stuff like that. But recently we switched the deal to 25 for 350 for the LA. But it's like not as many shirts, but you're getting better quality. Right. And we found a lot of success with that as well.
Yeah, and I think it's catchy, 50 for 250, and it's a good deal. It's just a good deal.
I felt like hell of TikTok screen printers went after that deal and kind of copy pasted it.
I feel like the problem is you can't really do that well anymore. Like you could probably, but it's not efficient. It's not it. But the thing is, there's people out there still doing it where it's like 50 for 500 or something like that. It's just too hot because you can't make a split decision on $500, but you can make a split decision on 250, 350, especially for a brand.
Well, you're not necessarily in it for the quick buck on that. You're in it for the customer acquisition.
Right. Yep. So we had to kind of figure out, and we couldn't get anything catchy. So we did 25 for 350, but so it wasn't as catchy, but we're going to figure out where's the middle ground of like, where can we offer a quality print for a reasonable price? That's not too high, because if we do it for 500, well, people are gonna have to think on it. I don't know. 350, somebody who's starting a brand who just needs 25 shirts, and we did oversized prints, you know, they can do that. They're like, oh, this makes sense. It's not the most expensive.
But then they come back to you for the reprint or the four color design or the rest of their career.
A lot of people doing like 3-4 orders of that September special we did, and then afterwards hitting us up like, hey, I love it. Let's keep running it, or let's do a different design. Like, I trust you guys now.
Like, it's like we can't do that all the time. Like, it's almost like, creating the hype with Apple. It's like it's going to drop every like 3 or 4 months. And when we do release it, hopefully it's bigger the next time.
Right.
But like if your brand, your print shop becomes that shop, then you're just racing to the bottom.
Yeah.
Because you're always doing deals. I'm not going to place an order until you have a deal. So
it's like the high V price shopper where one of them has like always low prices, and they're just, you think of them like, whatever. They're always, you expect cheaper prices. The high V or whatever the opposite is, or it doesn't even have to be those two. If they have like every once in a while they have a special, they don't devalue their overall brand. They're like, okay, you can get their stuff and it's nice and it's a nice store, but oh wow, the apples are on sale today. And they're really good pricing versus you go to the other one, it might be a little bit more, but it's always going to be cheaper. So we don't want to be a shop where you come here and you expect cheap. We still have and value what our guys do. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while it's like, hey, here's a deal. Like, take advantage of it while it's here, because you're going to be able to pay less for a premium product for this limited time, but we're not like devaluing ourselves. So.
I think it should really be looked at as a marketing thing, not necessarily like a business like profit strategy.
No. I'm sure you've seen it, and I'm not dogging on these dudes, but Five Boys, like
I was literally debating in my mind, should I say them or not?
No. I think it's tight. Like they like owned it. You know what I'm saying? I think if you own it and that becomes your identity in that, then like, dude,
I agree, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's too much of, they're like, oh, we're busy, we're doing this, but it's like, it's just undercutting every other shop.
yeah.
And it's just, I don't know.
I think I agree with that, and I got this from your guys' podcast with the Pintavo guys.
We're real fans out here.
Was
Hey, good, thanks.
Was at the end of the day, you guys were talking about like 4imprint and stuff like that. At the end of the day, you know, our sales guy Zane, he'll quote out a customer, and it might be a little bit higher. It probably is a little bit steeper than a lot of other places. But I'll tell you the number of times people come back and are like, let's go ahead with the order, because they probably, in my guess, and I don't ask them, we don't care if you go to other shops, whatever. But my bet is they go around looking for other shops. One, they either aren't doing the oversized or the stuff that maybe we're offering. But two, they go somewhere else and it probably is not good, or they're not happy with the whatever it is that it attracts them back. So, you know, there are going to be people that have it locked down that might be devaluing the industry, but people that want and recognize quality will always want and recognize quality, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I had a win like that the other day, which it was this large customer that we had like last winter, and like it was awesome. Like they sent us a ton of stuff. Well, they kind of faded away over the summer and we didn't really hear from them much. And we were like, well, it's just a classic. They probably found somebody else who would do it fucking 10 cents cheaper or whatever. And I'm just like, fine, like whatever. Like if they come back, they come back. If they don't, they don't. So anyway, like 2 weeks ago, they hit us up and they were like, hey, we want to place some orders and whatever. We're like, all right, cool. First question out of their mouth was like, can you do this price or whatever? And I'm like, nah, dude, like I'm telling them no, like it is what it is. So we said, I had a conversation, which was a weird conversation. Like I'm not normally that guy to like get on the phone and be like, these are my rules, like whatever. And she called, like I tried to set up a phone call, got on the phone with her, and I was just like, hey, like I want to work with you guys. Like I genuinely like your company and I want to work with you. Like I felt like we had a good relationship, but like I feel like I was almost like talking to a girlfriend or something, where I was like, but I'm worth more than this. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, hey, like I'm sorry that like you want it cheaper, but like I have to pay bills and our pricing structure is what it is, because that's what it takes for us to do this. It's not like I'm like Scrooge McDucking it over here. Like it is what it is because of it's what I need it to be. And I told her, I was like, you can't go to fucking McDonald's and like be like, I want a Big Mac. I'll give you $1 for it, and like expect them to be like, all right, we'll take it. Like it's not how this works. Like I don't know what to tell you. So then she was like, okay, and I was like, well, I'll send you over the pricing, and if you like it, cool. If not, like no hard feelings. Like hope you have the best of luck. So I ended up just sending over our pricing, and I was like, this is what I can do. And they emailed us back and we're like, all right, here's the orders. And it was like, all right, well, they came back to us obviously because the cheaper person probably wasn't doing anywhere near as good of a job. And then when they were trying to get that price, because I get it, it's their job. Like their job is to get the best deal. But I had to put my foot down and be like, hey, I'm not going to live or die by this order. Like it's either you do what we need or you don't work with us. And they went with it, which was cool. Like I'm happy, but I don't know.
We had this issue kind of in the beginning with contract, and we've gotten a lot more firm about it. So we try not to be too flex about it. It is hard when you're trying to earn business and you want to do it. But I think we had a customer that kept pushing. Every order was like, hey, can you do 5 cents difference? Can you do 10 cents difference? It got to a point where it was just like, I recognize you just also got to recognize like they kept coming to us because they want us to print. Like they have other shops. These are contract vendors, right? They have other shops they know and they work with. They wouldn't come to us if they didn't want us to print it. And you're tripping over like 5-10 cents. Like,
Bro.
Just pay the price. And then once we got past that hurdle, they sent us the orders. It's not a big deal, but it's like they're trying to match. They were setting our pricing to this other shop. And I promise you, our first meeting with them, our communication was significantly better. Our pricing structure was better. Because one of the first things I remember with them is like, we sat down, they're like, what's your pricing? We handed it all out. And he's like, what about base charge? What if it's like on a white shirt or a black shirt? Same price. But what if I do this? What if I do? because the other shop had all these fees, and we're like, this is the
Flash
price.
fee,
Like
Right.
flash fee, like all this stuff. Like, here's the price. Like
all these
on money on time that you're gonna spend of just not having to do all that calculating and just this is the price.
Right.
Run it through us. You're
Yeah.
saving that 5-10 cents. And so in the beginning, we're like, oh, we're hungry for business. Like, yeah, sure, we'll do this one, but just this one time. And then the next order he asked, we're just like, he keeps coming to us because we do good work. We can communicate well.
Yeah.
The relationship was built. So why are you trying to cheapen us? You know, like kind of what you're saying is like, I feel cheap. Like that's something we got over real quick of being like, this is our value. And, you know, if they want cheaper, there's other places, but
I mean, like
the amount of people that come back is, you know,
all in all, it's a kind of a respect thing too. Like I feel like sometimes when you tell people no like that, they respect you and they're like, all right, maybe they are worth their money. You know what I mean? Like if you fold immediately, they're like, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Like now I'm just going to ask for this always. It's like a kid whining for something. It's like if you always give in, they're just going to know that they can whine to get what they want. Like it's the squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
You open the door.
Yeah. And I think it's also a perceived value thing.
Wait, we should highlight on the topic of partnerships with companies because I know I see you so much in M&R videos and you have the equipment, tested out stuff. We're trying to, you know, build our partnerships as well as we include different companies. But how do you go about that with those type of companies? I mean, like on a
how do you guys navigate? Because there's like the different levels, right? There's going to be promo stuff where you get paid for like a one-time promo, and then you have like sponsorships, like for the show, right? Like the guys that you introduced in the beginning, and then long-term partnerships like the M&R guys, like where we're trying to navigate it, where people hit us up like, hey, we want to work with you, and we're just trying to figure it out, and we're like, hey, who better to ask than you guys?
I've kind of been touchy about this, but I want to clear the air on a lot of this stuff because I was naive in the beginning when I was like, oh, I want to partner with this company, and it wasn't a strategic plan or anything. It wasn't like when I decided I wanted to work with M&R, there was never a decision that I want to work with M&R. Like it was literally my M&R rep came to me one day at my shop and we were talking about something, and I started talking about how like there were these other brands, manufacturers that were doing so much better at social media. And it kind of like hurt my feelings because my shop was all blue. Like my shop was all M&R stuff. And I'm like, I know I have awesome equipment. Like I know this stuff rules. Like, and I'm doing good at social media. Like I almost feel like I need to try to help in some way, be like, hey, my equipment's good too. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to be like, I see all these people talking all this hype about all this other stuff, and I'm like, M&R's just riding out the fact that they're fucking awesome, and they're not like broadcasting it to the world on all these platforms. And I was like, I just don't want you guys to get into a point where like people don't know that this is great stuff. So anyway, I ended up like being like, hey, I would love to get a meeting with like Rich Hoffman at the time, and which was the owner of M&R, and be like, hey, like, can I help in any way? Like I was never like, I want to get a brand deal with M&R and they're going to pay me and like all this other stuff. I just wanted to do more industry stuff. I wanted to be involved or whatever. Yeah. Right. So like I went there, had a meeting, and I told him like all these ideas that I had and all this stuff. And he was immediately like, saw that I just wanted to help. So like my whole thing with M&R from the beginning has never been like pay me or give me free stuff. And to clear the air, I don't get free stuff from M&R. Nobody's getting free stuff from M&R. They're not like, hey, here's a press, like go talk about my stuff. Like they don't do that. So like all the equipment I have, I've bought. So like, but I just love helping them because they're good people. They make, in my opinion, the best equipment there is. And that's just what it is. It's like my team. I do love all the other manufacturers though. Like I have no issues with them. Great people. I like what they make too. In reality, it's all fucking Ford versus Chevy versus Toyota, whatever. They all make good shit. They're just different companies. But like, yeah, Blue Crew, all fucking I bleed blue. But it's just like there's all these other things too, like with Shirt Show and stuff. Like, if I'm being completely honest, all of these things that happen or these things that I get to do with other companies and relationships that I make, it's more in the vein of just doors open when you do more shit. Like you guys, if you want to get more and more involved with, say, LA Apparel and whatever, that might evolve into something like SNS wanting to work with you and be like, hey, we'll fly you out to ISS Long Beach if you guys want to like print in the booth and like talk about this brand or something or whatever. Like that's how it happens. Like it just rolls into like no one's just being like, here's a bunch of money and like do this stuff for us. It's usually like we'll give you an opportunity to like go into a shop that you would never be able to walk into or this or that. And I love that stuff. Like I would almost rather pay to visit some of the shops I've been able to visit. And here I got the opportunity to go do it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's that's where we are. I mean, we post stuff because we like it, right? Like,
Right.
I think we've maybe had one or two, like we get people asking us and we get a lot of blank companies wanting to be like, hey, we want our blanks in your videos. That's where we start figuring, like that's where it starts getting weird. Like equipment, like we post them in our because we love it, right? We use it because we love it, right? Same as you and all these other things, like we use it because we love it. Same with the blank.
To touch on the blanks thing though, like, and to me, it's important, and I stress this on the show all the time, is like the integrity to me is worth more than anything. Like I won't talk about anything on the show in like a good way unless I actually like it.
Right.
So like for you guys, if you have these blank companies coming to you and be like, oh, use our stuff and showcase our stuff in videos, you'd be like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah, send me what you want to send me, but do testing on your own time. And if you actually like it, be like, hell yeah, I'll show this off. And then if they're willing to give you money, if they're willing to be like, hey, we're willing to give you free blanks for whatever or pay you money for as like an advertising or whatever, hell yeah, dude, take advantage of it, do it, whatever, but don't do it just because they're offering you money. Do it if it's something you actually like.
That's where we're trying to navigate, because it's like the guys at Tonal, like we got some hats with them, we made this video and we like
amazing dudes.
Right, fantastic. And
we're cool with
that video popped off, right? And then they sent us a bunch of stuff, like, but we didn't even ask for it. They're like, hey, we want to send you all the hats. And the video was amazing. Like, people hit us up from it. It's like, cool. And so we don't ask, but it is that one where we're trying to navigate. People DM us like, hey, we got this new blank company. And there's one we found recently that's like actually pretty decent. We did a video because we like the blanks, not even asking anything. But then it's a weird area where people are like, hey, I want to work with you. And they may or may not have a good product. And we're trying to figure that out where, one, obviously we want to test it out. I think I agree with you. Like, we don't ever want to push anything that we don't like.
Yeah.
There's people that push stuff. And I think specifically this example, I think it was like a bunch of YouTubers that are pushing a VPN, and like they were just blindly taking the money and like, hey, this VPN protects you. Like you can do this. And then like months later, it just turned out like they sold all the information that, like it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yep.
Everybody had to apologize because all of a sudden you're associating your brand to this company that you're coming from. And not only that, your audience trusts you to say like, hey, they're good and vet them, and then you just sold out.
It's kind of like it devalues the rest of the stuff that you do. Like you might be looking at it as being like, oh, they're giving me $1,000 to talk about this shirt on one thing or whatever. But as soon as your customers watch your video and hear you be like creepy and salesy, they're not going to trust anything else you say. It's kind of like if you watch a Joe Rogan or a How I Built This or whatever, and they're like, my favorite underwear is MeUndies. It's like,
bro, you were definitely paid for this.
Okay, you probably got a bunch of free underwear, but don't tell me it's your fucking favorite underwear that you wear every single day. It just makes me question in the back of my mind all this other information that you're giving me in the rest of your show. Is this real? Was he like asked to say this? Was this whatever? Right. And it's like, that's why I try to stress, like, if I talk about something and like, oh, I really love the laser or I whatever, like, I actually fucking like it. Like, and we've had sponsors before too that like gave us money and we liked in the beginning, and then things went south with quality where we were like, we literally went to them and we're like, we don't want to take your money anymore, even though the money's cool. Like, it's cool to get money,
right?
But I'd rather not take your money and be able to not push something I don't believe in.
Yeah, I want to study it more, but I think a company that does very well about that, and they're massive at this point, but like Linus Tech Tips, I'm sure, have you heard of them? Mm-hmm. They do a lot of they do phenomenal YouTube videos about like technology, but they always have a bunch of different sponsorships, and a lot of times they're direct competitors. Like they'll have a sponsorship for this computer brand and this computer brand, and they open the doors. But the thing is, one of their things to kind of keep that transparency is they will always, almost, I would hope, at least based on their videos, are honest. They're never biased, and they'll be like, hey, we have sponsorships. We work with like Corsair, I think is the brand, and they'll on another video be like, this product from Corsair sucks. Like they said it does this, we tested it and it doesn't hold up. Like, but then they'll work with the company to like improve it and stuff like that. So I think they're pretty transparent about like, hey, we're getting paid for some of these things, but also at the same time,
like we're going to give you an honest review about it.
Hey, they might have given us money, but sometimes their stuff sucks. Sometimes it's great, but we're going to be honest to you about it. So I think they do very well. But I need to study that more. But
I will say, I do have to dip out of here. So if you guys want to keep it going,
yeah, we gotta wrap up anyway. We're going, but it's all good.
Not to be like that guy, but like I got to pick up my mom for surgery.
Yeah. We got work to do. Well, I really appreciate you guys. This was great. We could obviously keep going on and on, but I appreciate you taking the time of your day. Thank you for doing what you do. I think you guys are doing fucking awesome. So keep doing it, man.
Just keep on going.
Just keep on doing it.
Yeah. Are you going to be out in Missouri or like in the Midwest anytime soon?
I'm all over the place all the time, but I would love to stop by sometime if I'm in the area.
I talked to Maggie about doing a Blue Crew tour here, but I think our next spot.
We want to go out to. We need to figure it out. Go out to Chicago and tour.
You should. You definitely should just make a trip to Chicago to see the factory. Like it's 100% worth it.
I'll watch the one you guys did, and it's a little older now, but they talk about like the new facility with M&R.
Yeah.
And so we just got to fly out there and like make an appointment. Is it scheduled based or how's that?
Yeah, you could probably just walk in and get one, but it's better to just make an appointment. I would just be like, hey, we're gonna go to Chicago for the weekend or something, and like just go there for a day and then go do some Chicago stuff and fly home.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, we can figure stuff out later.
Yeah. All right, dude. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on. Take it easy.
Later, man.